很多中国女性啊根本就不适合结婚呐。
Nowadays, many Chinese women are simply not suitable for marriage. The current state of marriage is indeed worrying. The marriage rate is declining year by year, while the divorce rate is on the rise. Many people may wonder, who is to blame for this? In my opinion, the key issue may lie more with women. Nowadays, some women's behavior is incomprehensible. They completely lack the demeanor of traditional ladies. Even their parents can hardly recognize them, let alone becoming virtuous wives and good mothers. As a woman, I should be speaking from a woman's perspective, but what I see some women doing is truly unacceptable. Why have they become like this? Is it because society has developed too fast? Or is it because the gender ratio in China is imbalanced, leading to the only child being spoiled and pampered since childhood, causing them to act recklessly? Their arrogance has become their capital. Or, is it that these women's minds have already been corroded by ugly ideas? It is really something that one finds hard to accept and understand. In the past, men guarded the nation, while women safeguarded the bloodline. But now, some women only care about money and material things, completely lacking the sense of family heritage. Are such people really suitable for marriage? One can't help but wonder. Firstly, some women have no education, no job, and look quite ordinary, yet they think highly of themselves and make a bunch of demands on men, such as a high bride price, buying a house, buying a car, etc. These demands can be somewhat understood, but the most outrageous part is that they refuse to do laundry, cook, do housework, have children, or take care of their elderly parents and husbands. They rely on others to serve them in everything. They don't want to do anything themselves, yet they expect others to serve them, always putting on the airs of a young lady. They think about how much pocket money their man gives them every day. If the man gives them less money, they scold him for being incompetent. This makes many men feel as if they have married an ancestor into their home. Secondly, many women are brainwashed by feel-good platitudes. For example, they think they should never compromise and that women can live well without men. They believe women are not men's reproductive tools, and that to have children for a man, he must be someone who understands and loves them. Otherwise, all their suffering is in vain. All kinds of superficial self-help mottos flood their minds. Plus, under the influence of various idol dramas, they daydream all the time. They fantasize that their future husband must be a tall, rich, and handsome guy, and that after marriage, he would be responsible for making money, while they just need to stay beautiful. However, where in reality are there so many tall, rich, and handsome men? The marriages of ordinary people will inevitably differ significantly from their fantasies. As a result, many women are full of dissatisfaction with their partners. Even though they themselves earn only a few thousand yuan a month, they despise men who earn 10 or 20,000 yuan for not meeting their expectations and lowering their quality of life. Thirdly, many leftover women in China who are over 30 years old clearly had many opportunities to get married. But they always think that they have some beauty, a high education, and a good job. They feel that ordinary men do not meet their standards at all. Only a tall, rich, and handsome man is their Mr. Right. After all, a man simply cannot fall below their standards. But in reality, tall, rich, and handsome men often prefer young, gentle girls, so why would they choose a woman in her 30s? Fourthly, some women have a low salary, only about 3,000 yuan a month, but they have huge expenditures. A monthly expense of 10,000 yuan is their minimum requirement. This is because they are accustomed to relying on others to provide them with what they want. This lifestyle and consumption concept make people feel like they are living the life of a rich lady, but in reality, their economic capability does not match up. Fifthly, career women, although they have achieved success in their work, also have higher requirements for their partner. They want to find a man who is both wealthy and more successful and can earn more than they do. They believe only such a man is worthy of them. But in reality, many successful men often prefer young, gentle, and easygoing women, rather than a condescending, strong woman. So these behaviors and concepts of certain Chinese women today indeed make them fundamentally unsuitable for marriage.
为什么现在那么多大龄单身的人不想谈恋爱结婚了？
Nowadays, many people choose to stay single and no longer yearn for romantic relationships or marriage. I think I might be a representative of this type of woman. Born in 1998, I will be 30 in a few years. I come from an ordinary family, work a regular job, earn a modest salary, and my education is not outstanding. The only things I might be able to flaunt are probably my looks and height. In front of people I like, I often feel inferior. Everyone says that women today are very realistic, demanding that men have a house, a car, and savings. But men also have their own requirements. They consider a partner's family background, assess how much the woman can contribute to their future, and approach with a purpose, weighing the pros and cons before deciding to leave. I have also been in a few relationships, but none ended successfully. I've seen many couples and married people around me. Some love each other for life, while others eventually part ways. Rather than experiencing this, I'd prefer to stay single. I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. If a relationship cannot end well, I'd rather not start it at all. I currently live with a roommate in a rented apartment, leading a simple life without the trivialities of marriage, and without a mortgage or car loan. My life is free and joyful. All my time belongs to me. When I see my friends getting married and having children, I sometimes feel envious, but I also occasionally feel relieved. Many people think women like us are selfish and cold, only concerned with our own feelings. But I believe that, compared to an unhappy marriage, isn't a solitary single life also beneficial?
为什么抗拒婚姻的现在大多都是女性？
Why are so many women resisting marriage now? It's not just a gender issue but a predicament. I really don't want to attend weddings. They make me feel very uneasy. For example, when the groom's father hands the bride's hand to the groom, this process looks like a secondary transfer of marital rights. When the bride price is agreed upon, it feels like a transaction, money exchanged for the goods. What's even more infuriating is that many men in China cunningly use the guise of love to emotionally blackmail you, demanding your sacrifice without any reciprocation. If you become pregnant, it's like receiving a non-returnable package. You have to face all the consequences. So, why is marriage seen as the greatest scam in a woman's life? When a man complains that you're too rational, the underlying message is that you're hard to deceive or placate. Women no longer accept the injustices they once tolerated. Now that women have opened their eyes to the world, we realize that the men before us are not all that impressive. Men will bow and scrape in front of clients but act tough in front of women. Their external dignity can only be compensated through you and the children. Although surrogacy is wrong, the market price for it is around 1 million yuan, yet many men struggle to offer 300,000 yuan in bride price for marriage, which is necessary to support a family. The in-laws and husbands might even feel that they are at a loss. When you sacrifice your career and social life to become a full-time housewife, the man's past promise of "I will support you" turns into "I support you." After much contemplation, I finally realized that the best way to break this situation is to not participate in it at all.
结婚率越来越低，离婚率却越来越高，为什么女性不愿意走进婚姻了呢？
China's marriage rate is gradually declining, while the divorce rate is rising. This reflects Chinese women's dissatisfaction with the traditional marriage model. Women are not unwilling to marry. Rather, they resist the traditional form of marriage. This resistance is actually a rebellion against the various injustices present in traditional marriages. For a long time, men have often focused only on visible costs such as purchasing cars and houses, while neglecting the hidden costs borne by women after marriage. In first-tier and second-tier cities, the hourly wage for an hourly worker is about 50 yuan. The monthly salary for a live-in nanny is around 8,000 yuan, and the monthly salary for a maternity nurse reaches 10,000 yuan. These costs do not include the high expenses incurred during childbirth. However, women in the family are often expected to undertake these duties as a matter of course, even being viewed as obligatory labor. Therefore, I believe that Chinese women are currently not rejecting marriage and childbirth, but rather resisting the injustices within the traditional marriage model. To change this situation, men must completely re-examine their understanding of marriage. They need to recognize that marriage is not just a legal union. It requires management, emotional commitment, and shared responsibility for household chores and childcare. Managing a family requires wisdom and a sense of responsibility. If men cannot make these changes, the number of men living alone in old age will continue to increase. If women choose not to marry but still want children, they can opt for non-marital childbirth. However, men cannot bear children. Therefore, I believe that a man's inability to give birth is a physiological defect.
现在很多的女孩子不想结婚。
Nowadays, many women are unwilling to get married. Truly outstanding men also don't want to get married. After all, the cost of marriage for men is right there. They need to prepare a house, a car, and also pay the bride price. Even if we don't mention too much, the bride price should at least be around 200,000 yuan, right? Women worry that after getting married and having children, their husbands won't care about them, while men are concerned that after giving the bride price, they will be deceived by the woman. Now, good men can't meet good women, and good women can't meet good men. Men are afraid of meeting gold diggers, while women are afraid of encountering scumbags. The trust in the entire society has almost vanished. Between people, there is nothing but calculation. The marriage hasn't even happened yet, and during the dating phase, people are already calculating, fearing that they will suffer losses. This is premarital, that is also premarital, this property is mine, that property is also mine. Everything must be clearly divided. Why is there no happiness in marriage nowadays? It's because both parties aren't thinking about how to live a good life together, but rather worrying about their own property being occupied by the other. Now, men provide property while women give their bodies. Why can't low-income men find wives? Because their income does not match the sacrifices women make in having children. After all, women stay at home to take care of the child after giving birth, which means no income, and life becomes difficult to maintain. Therefore, they all want to find men with good conditions and high income, which is understandable. As a result, it becomes even harder for low-income men to find partners. Nowadays, no one wants to find someone who holds them back. Everyone wants to rely on the other to live a better life. Both men and women want to find someone better than themselves. After all, who doesn't want to live better? Therefore, it is now difficult for many Chinese men and women to step into marriage.
我总算想明白为什么现在结婚率这么低，大部分不想结婚的全都是女的。
The reason I finally figured out why the marriage rate is so low nowadays is mainly because most people who don't want to get married are women. Look at my parents' generation. My dad was responsible for earning money to support the family, while my mom took care of me and managed the household. Their generation followed a division of labor between men and women. However, in our generation, women not only have to take care of the family, children, and in-laws, but also need to have a job to achieve economic independence. If they ask for just a little bit more, they will be criticized as being greedy. Isn't society's demand on women too harsh nowadays? Secondly, many of the women around me had a pretty high quality of life before marriage, but after marriage, their quality of life didn't improve. Instead, they took on more responsibilities, like caring for their partner, both sets of parents, and children. They must give their best effort in every aspect, and if anything goes wrong, they face complaints. To put it bluntly, which woman with the ability to be self-sufficient would easily choose to get married? Thirdly, just take a look at those divorced female celebrities. After their divorce, none of them seem willing to remarry. Before marriage, they thought living alone was tough, but after marriage, they realized it's not just tough, it's a form of suffering. If all you want is love and companionship, dating is enough. Why do you have to get married? In the past, people said that women valued cars and houses, calling them materialistic. But now, women don't want anything, so naturally, they don't need a husband anymore.
我不结婚，为啥要结婚啊？结婚我就穷了。
I really don't understand why I have to get married. Once I get married, I'll immediately become poor. Regarding marriage, I'm pretty much the same as most people born in the 90s. I don't want to get married, don't want to bear the burden of life, and don't want to buy a house or a car. Right now, I just want to live a simple and free life. If I have hundreds of thousands of yuan to live on my own, I think that would be enough to make me happy. So why get married? Sure, finding someone could reduce loneliness and allow us to strive together. But if I can't find a girlfriend who can actually improve my life, what's the point of getting married? Besides, I feel that many women nowadays are not suitable for marriage. Look, if I earn 20,000 yuan a month, and she only earns 2,000 yuan, then I have to take care of her. Plus, most women nowadays don't know how to do housework. I will have to take on the responsibility of doing housework. I also have to support her, always be mindful of her feelings, and at the same time, I still have to keep earning money. In the end, this kind of relationship doesn't feel like finding a partner. It feels more like bringing home a parent. One of my brothers is in this kind of situation. He grew up in a single-parent family, raised by his mom alone. His girlfriend got pregnant, and they took wedding photos, but in the end, the girl's family absolutely refused to agree to the marriage, thinking the guy's family wasn't good enough. As a result, the child had to be aborted, and his girlfriend left him. The house had already been bought, costing 700,000 yuan, and there's still a loan of over 500,000 yuan. Now, my brother has to repay it all by himself. Situations like this are not uncommon in today's society. Nowadays, marriage often starts not with love, but with various material conditions. I believe there are indeed some girls who choose to be with you for love, even without a house, but their families definitely won't agree. So now, when looking for a partner, if it's not goal-oriented from the beginning, then no matter how well you get along initially or how deep the feelings are, you might still end up not being together in the end.
In the future, if there are many leftover women who find it difficult to find a partner, the reason often lies in their own behavior. I now finally understand why. When it comes to discussing marriage and finding a partner, there is always a sense of rejection between men and women in China, with neither side finding the other attractive. I have summarized the current situation of some women in China. Have you noticed that some women, whose family conditions are average and whose jobs are not outstanding, merely able to make ends meet, often harbor fantastical dreams, filled with ideals and romance, while being quite confident? So, what is there for others to like about you? Is it that you don't do housework, or is it your monthly salary of 3,500 yuan? Some of you sisters, please stop being obsessed with idle dramas. The plot of a domineering president falling in love with a sweet, innocent girl is something that will never happen in real life. We all want to find a partner with good conditions, which is not wrong in itself. But we also need to reflect on improving ourselves first. After all, marriage is essentially a value exchange. Whether it is economic value, emotional value, or other outstanding qualities you possess, it is what makes the other party think you are worth it. If we can lower some of our requirements for a partner, we would find that there are actually many excellent men around us. As for those men who truly earn 7 figures a year, they are mostly older men, and most of them already have wives. These wives have been with the older men since their youth, supporting them through entrepreneurship and hard work. In marriage, there really aren't many opportunities to gain something for nothing. Do you agree with my point of view? Feel free to leave your comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to provide you with better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.